Good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday. We're going to talk about finance and budget. Today, I want to talk about the proposed $20 minimum fast food workers wage. And I feel like I saw a new program for rent relief here, at least, I'm not sure if it's California or LA County. So I need to research those things. So I might as well research them with you. Debbie, the little green guy, misses you. He says hello. I do work at a movie theater, and one of my viewers, Debbie, always wants to know the latest with the movies. So we will talk about that for a second. This week, A Haunting in Venice is the most popular movie at my movie theater. So that's kind of part of a series. But you don't have to watch the series to see that movie. That's the number one movie. We're kind of slowing down. If you guys have any finance or budget topics that you would rather hear me talk about, leave that in the chat. And mom, if you're watching this, which you better be, check your porch because I think a package just arrived for you. My mom had me order some things from Amazon for her and they just arrived. Okay, let's see here. I'm going to share my screen while I look into some of these programs. First of all, it's my understanding that restaurant minimum wage California. That seems like a good place to start. Okay. So, the current minimum wage is $15.50 an hour in California, and it's set to go up to $16 in January. Employers of smaller fast food joints and other restaurants could also reap some benefits from legislation. Da, 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 da. Okay, let's try this one. Government. Okay, let's see if the New York Times articles has a paywall. I hope not. Okay. Yeah, we'll hit continue on that. Restaurants and unions agree to raise pay to $20 an hour in California. Oh my goodness. I don't want that. Okay. I don't want the pop-up, not necessarily the $20 minimum wage. All right, yep, it's probably time. Hi, Siegel. Gas prices are insane. They're forcing me to stay home and also eat microwave dinners. Severe lifestyle change. Yeah. Okay, so gas prices here in California yesterday at the Arco by my house, I paid $5.99. But of course, like at Arco, if you pay with a debit card instead of using cash, they add a 35-cent fee. And my car only takes 7 gallons, so that's an extra 5 cents a gallon. So we're essentially above $6 a gallon everywhere. I actually I didn't share this last week, and this is kind of shady. So I don't know, but judge me. I'm trying to get my hustle on, whatever. There was a tiki mug, an exclusive tiki mug that they were selling at Disney California Adventure. And so there were only like 1,250 of them made. And I was like, I'm going to go get one of these tiki mugs, which cost $90. And I wanted to resell it on eBay. Now, in the tiki mug collecting community, that's a big no-no. But to me, that would have been a good side hustle. Like the mug cost $90, but it comes with a beverage in it, alcoholic beverage. And then they were selling on eBay for between $325 and $375. Something bit me. I have a big welt on my leg. That's great. Anyway, I have 2 welts on my legs. Okay. Sorry, got distracted. So I wanted to try and buy this mug to try and resell it on eBay, but that required that I had a ticket to Disneyland. And so I'm at Disneyland. I did not get the mug. I didn't resell it. Didn't work out. So that's what I get for trying to be greedy and buy this tiki mug from Disneyland to try and resell. But anyway, when I left, I went to the gas station and it said that gas was like $6 and like 49 cents or something like that. And I was like, yeah, mom, the rest of your order is coming tomorrow. So tomorrow, the rest of your things should be there. So gas was $6.49. And I was like, oh, this is because I am so close to Disneyland. They're just trying to rip tourists off. But no, it's above $6 everywhere. There's like a notoriously expensive gas station kind of by my house, and my friend posted a picture of them. Now they're always high. I don't know what in the world they think they're doing. Oops. Let's see. Dang it. Let's see here. She posted, oh, where is it? Come on. All right, well, maybe I'm not going to be able to find it. But it was above $7 a gallon at this notoriously high gas station by my house. So yeah, it's crazy, and it can be life-changing. Like, it cost more than $40 to fill up my gas tank, and it's now taking like my little Prius tells me how much I've spent in gas. So I'm now spending $2.50 in gas one way to get to work. Okay. Infinity, hello. Your car takes premium. It's really bad. You find yourself staying home way more. Only drive to work and back, and thankfully it's only 7 miles away. And 7 miles is a little bit far. And I didn't do this all the time, but my old job used to be 4.6 miles from my house, and I would occasionally ride my bike to work. It wasn't like often. It wasn't like I was doing it every day, but my job used to be bike riding distance. Okay. So let's go back to this restaurants and unions agreeing to pay $20 an hour in California. That would help with the gas prices or being able to afford gas. Okay. The deal will avoid a ballot fight over a law passed last year that could have resulted in higher pay and other changes opposed by restaurant companies and franchisees. Okay. Labor groups and fast food companies in California. Okay, and this article is by Senthul Nurkar. Um, so I would just like to give credit when I can to the actual author of these. So I'm just reading what he wrote. Okay. Labor groups and fast food companies in California have reached an agreement that will pave the way for workers in the industry to receive a minimum wage of $20 an hour. But see, will pave the way does not necessarily, I don't think that means it's necessarily going to affect. The deal, which will result in changes to Assembly Bills 1228, was announced by the Service Employees International Union on Monday and will mean an increase to the minimum wage for California fast food workers by April. In exchange, labor groups and their allies, okay, so that will mean an increase. We got to keep reading. And I apologize because normally I'm very knowledgeable about these things in advance, but I've been working a lot this week. And so I saw this come up in my feed. I know that there's movement on it. I just don't know exactly where we're at. So that's why we're reading this. Okay. The deal, which will result in changes to Assembly Bill 1228, was announced by the Service Employees International Union on Monday and will mean an increase to the minimum wage for California fast food workers by April. In exchange, labor groups and their allies in the legislature will agree to the fast food industry's demands to remove a provision from the bill that could have made restaurant companies liable for workplace violations committed by their franchisees. Okay. The agreement is contingent on the withdrawal of a referendum proposal by restaurant companies in California that would have challenged the proposed legislation in the 2024 ballot. Businesses, labor groups, and others have often used ballot measures in California to block legislation or advance their causes. The proposed legislation would also create a council for overseeing future increases to the minimum wage and enact workplace regulations. So then this is still saying it's proposed legislation. All right. Mary Kay Henry, the president of the SEIU, said the measure in California would be a model for other states. California fast food workers' fight for a seat at the table has reshaped what working people believe is possible when they join together. Sean Kennedy, the executive vice president of public affairs at the National Restaurant Association, said the deal also benefited restaurants. This agreement protects local restaurant owners from significant threats that would have made it difficult to continue to operate in California. It provides a more predictable and stable future for restaurants, workers, and consumers. Okay. Fast food industry. This is just like a little side note, labor organizing and union drives for the Fed. So I skipped over some of them. Um, Labor groups and fast food companies in California reached an agreement that will pave the way for workers in the industry to receive a minimum of $20 an hour. Okay. Even so, some franchises say they did not support the deal. The real issue is who is this impacting the most? It's the franchisees, said Keith Miller, a Subway franchisee in Northern California, who's become an advocate for the interest of others like him. There was a lot of backroom dealing that made this happen and no time for anyone to really voice opposition. Willie Armstrong, the chief of staff for Assemblyman Chris Holden, a Democrat who is the sponsor of AB 1228, said the lawmaker expected the measure to be approved by the legislature before its session ended on Thursday. Last year, the legislature passed Assembly Bill 257, a measure Mr. Holden also sponsored, which would have created a council with the authority to raise the minimum wage to $22 per hour for restaurant workers. Governor Gavin Newsom signed it on Labor Day last year. But the bill met fierce opposition from business interests and restaurant companies, and a petition received enough signatures to put a measure on the 2024 ballot to stop the law from going into effect. Other business groups in California have successfully used that tactic to change or reverse legislation they opposed. In 2020, ride sharing and delivery companies like Uber and Instacart campaigned for and received an exemption from a key provision of Assembly Bill 5, which was signed by Mr. Newsom and would have made it much harder for the companies to classify drivers as independent contractors rather than employees. Those companies collected enough signatures to get the issue on the ballot as Proposition 22, which passed in November of 2020. More than $200 million was spent on that measure, making it the costliest ballot initiative in the state at the time. And in February, oil companies received enough signatures for a measure that aims to block legislation banning new drilling projects near homes and schools. This initiative will be on the 2024 ballot. In response to calls from advocacy groups who have said the referendum process unfairly benefits wealthy special interest groups in an effort to demystify a system that many Californians say is confusing, Mr. Newsom signed legislation on September 8th that aims to simplify the referendum process. So this is not clear enough to me. So I think it still has to pass one more thing before it actually happens, but let's see if we can try to confirm that. Okay. No, maybe this is. Okay. Restaurant Business Magazine. So this is definitely going to be from the boss's perspective. Let me pop back over into your comments. They'll just make gas more expensive and or like food. Hi, Stand By Me 007. I haven't seen you in the channel before, so welcome. This isn't a raise. If you work more than 30 hours a week, then you'll be in a different tax bracket. So this is all going back to the government and everything is going to be more money. But keep in mind that every year that's at least partially true, right? But like every year, the income brackets change as well. I will say that that was like a big adjustment for me when I first started making a little bit more money, is like they do take more in taxes. Um, but there's tricks like contributing to your 401k, which is a good idea to do anyway, that will help keep your tax bill a little bit lower. Um, in last week's chat, we talked about like living paycheck to paycheck on purpose, even if you made like $100,000. So I also think that they're going to pass on the cost to consumers. So, anyway, let's read it from the restaurant industry's side. The impact of the fast food wage compromise in California won't be limited to fast food. Um, and I agree with this, right? Why would someone work making $15.50 an hour, let's say at like a mini golf place, right? So you've got your local mini golf place that pays $15.50 an hour, and then you've got your McDonald's, because it's going to be chains, right? Chains that I believe that have more than 60 stores nationwide, would be subject to this $20 an hour minimum. But it's going to make it harder for places like the local mini golf place to find employees, because people are going to go where the money is. And like that would be true for me. And there's some people that are like, there's still going to be people that don't want to flip burgers or, clean restrooms at a fast food restaurant. But $4.50 extra an hour, let's say you work an 8-hour shift, 450 times 8, that would equal an extra $36. I also tend to think, I have a friend, he's not in California, but I have a friend and he owns apartments and he owns franchise. He owns like Main Squeeze Juices or something, but he's a franchisee. So, you know, and he tries to be a very good person, right? But if all of a sudden he has to pay his employees at the franchise $20 an hour, like and this, I don't know the inner workings of his business, but for me, like, I still need to bring home the same amount of money to meet my living expenses, right? So if all of a sudden now I have to pay $20 an hour on one business, does that mean that I need to raise my rent prices at another business? Sorry, I ate chia seeds earlier, and I feel like something's weird on my lip. Anyway, okay, Joel says, you know what sucks? I know people that still drive for Uber like I used to, and the company is not even giving a crap about their suffering. No increase in pay was $6 a gallon. What a company. Yeah, and, like, no shade to Uber drivers, right? Because I have been an Uber driver back in 2014, and I wasn't making money at it back then, and they just keep finding ways to, like, nickel and dime the drivers out of, their earnings. The percentage of pay gets less and putting more on people to tip and things like that. Sorry. Oh, what is going on today? I got bit. I'm itching. Anyway, so Meet Kevin kind of said this on his channel. As much as like I support finding creative ways to pay your bills, right? And bringing in extra income, and earning extra income is a great way to like avoid spending money, right? Like if you're driving Uber and that's keeping you from like shopping on Amazon or whatever, then I support that. But if your long-term goal is to significantly increase your net worth, then potentially like taking a course and getting a certification, or even taking like an entry level office job, or interning somewhere where you might be able to network, that might be a better option. I was reading another article, and this is not my opinion, right? I have driven for Uber, but this other article went on to say that if they saw Uber listed on a resume, that they would assume that that person, for whatever reason, couldn't go out and find a regular job. And I think, to meet Kevin's point, what he was saying is driving for Uber, while it's a great way to supplement your income, or for some people, it's their whole income, and Postmates and things like that, it doesn't necessarily help you with your odds of being able to go out and get one job that actually would pay all the bills. And hi, good morning, Bonnie. I'm really feeling torn myself, right? Between there's a lot of this side hustle culture kind of makes you feel burnt out, right? And let's see if I saved it somewhere quick, or did I just save it and did I not screenshot it? It basically was like, ooh, oh yeah, there definitely is a new rental assistance program because I screenshotted that. So we're gonna get into that in a second. Um, but it basically said that back in the day, we're not gonna define back in the day, but back in the day, oh, here we go. I did save it. Let me remove this from the screen for 1 second. Okay. I don't think you guys can see this, but this is the screenshot that I saved. Gentle reminder that the 40-hour work week is outdated and was designed with the assumption someone else was going to be always taking care of cooking, cleaning, and household errands. It wasn't designed for you to be doing it all, and if you're having a hard time, you're not a failure. I saved this for myself because I'm feeling stressed out. I'm working a lot of hours at my regular job, and I love that job, and it's what I signed on for, and I'm a salaried manager, but I also really want to carve out time to do YouTube. But I also need to carve out time to see my mom and to do my laundry and do the dishes and cook food, but it's just me. And so sometimes I'm like, whoa, this is a lot going on right now. And I've been getting caught up on like medical appointments. Like you guys know, I hope that this isn't oversharing Shelly. It's to encourage more women and to kind of normalize it. I just got my mammogram. Everything came back normal. So that's great. But I've been catching up on, so there's doctor's appointments, there's household chores, I need to like trim the roses, I need to like sweep the driveway. There's a lot. It feels overwhelming at times. And then to add a side hustle, any side hustle, be that Uber, Postmates, a second office type job, whatever it is, it's stressful. So on the one hand, I support getting out of debt and I support keeping your expenses low, but I would really love, and this is true for myself as well, to really find one great paying job that does it all for you. I think that we've gotten ourselves in a society in a tricky place where they're really pushing the hustle culture, but that reminder was talking about a 40-hour work week. And if you work a side hustle on top of your other job, like you're going to get burnt out. And so maybe instead of driving for Uber or Postmates, maybe we should be focused on going out and getting skills that make it so that we can get a job where we make over six figures. You know what I mean? Like in computers, like I'm not great with all those programming and coding, but those jobs, and they have programs, sometimes free programs, especially for women to like help you get a certification. Anyway, I don't know what the answers are always. So anyway, okay. Curly says, to me, this increase should be per state. I get that $20 an hour for California. So here's the thing though, is it going to make it harder for other types of businesses to find employees? I think like starting office staff too, like a front desk clerk at a dental office, right? Not the person that does the billing and all of that, but I think that they generally start at minimum wage. So is someone still going to choose, and they might, right? Like that's what I was just saying. The chances of maybe being inspired to learn medical billing while you're at the dentist office, even if you're just answering the phones or something like that, maybe you would still choose to make 15.50 an hour versus $20 an hour because it would help you further along in your goals. And there might still be some people that are like, I don't want to flip burgers. This is like, I think and I've said this before too. Some of the best employees that I've worked with have come from McDonald's, they've come from Starbucks, and McDonald's and Star those are the 2 big ones that I'm remembering right now. They are always like top tier workers, right? But those are hard jobs. You're working in front of a hot stove, you're working in front of the hot deep fryer, you are cleaning bathrooms is gonna be part of your job responsibilities, right? So the people that work those jobs are extremely hardworking, in my opinion, but what about the other jobs? So, like, there might still be some people that don't want all the things that come along with working as a fast food worker. Also, what happens to so that the $20 an hour would only apply to, like, chain restaurants that have, I think, more than 60 stores nationwide. So, what happens to your local bakery, right? Or what happens to your local burger shop, right? These are people that have just, like, started the business because they love it. It's their passion, they're really great at cooking X, Y, and Z, but they don't have 60 stores. So, if I'm gonna flip burgers, if I'm looking for a job and it's flipping burgers both places, a local mom and pop shop or a McDonald's, that 4.50 extra an hour, that's a lot. Okay, so wait, I was gonna see how much that added up to, like, let's do it by the year. Okay, so 30 if you worked an 8-hour shift, the difference between California state minimum wage, which right now is 15.50, but it's going up to 16. Let's just go ahead and go with next year because the $20 isn't happening. So $16 is going to be California state minimum wage starting in January of 2024. This blows my mind because when I first started working, I started at $4.75 an hour. There's 14 of you watching. So, and I've seen some comments from some people who haven't been in here before. So we're talking about finance today. We're talking about that $20 restaurant minimum wage uh, fee here in California. Please like the video, but if you want to talk about something else, finance or budget related, feel free to let me know that in the chat. Okay, so 30, it's not going to be 36. So we're going to go $4 an extra an hour times 8. And sometimes at fast food restaurants and stuff, you're not working a full 8-hour shift. Maybe you're working a 5.5-hour shift. Maybe it's scheduled 8 hours, but you have to clock out for a 30-minute break. So it actually ends up only 7.5 hours. But we're going to go with an 8-hour shift. That would be an extra $32 a day. Now you work 5 days a week. That's an extra $160 a week. There's 52 weeks in a year. It's an extra $8,320 before taxes. So that is a pretty big increase, but let's look at rent. Okay, so let's say you're making $20 an hour now at McDonald's times $8. What? $20 times 8. Oh, that'd be 160 a day times 5 days a week equals $800 a week times 52. That's $41,600. We're going to divide that by 12 to get our monthly, which would be before taxes, that would be $3,466. But an average well, not an average, but the one bedrooms apartments like where I live, I don't know the average here in California, is $2,400 a month. And that would only leave you with $1,066. And that's all before tax figures. So even if they raise the minimum wage to $20, it's still not going to be enough for like an apartment here in California in a lot of places. Okay. Um, and then Curly, you're saying like that you get it for California. Here's my thing, right? And maybe I don't quite understand this. So if somebody wants to like correct me, please do so. These business owners, they're still going to want to make the same amount of money that they were making before. They're not going to be like, oh, you know what? It's okay if I make less money. Like, I want my workers to make more money, right? I don't think that business owners are going to think that way. So they're going to be looking for ways to try and cut their cost. Either they're going to be um, turning to robotics and AI, right? I think there was like a food and restaurant convention where they had like robots. I think they were actually like baristas, like at Starbucks. So either restaurant owners are going to have to look how to automate it more often, uh, or they're going to try and cut hours and try and have the like less people do more things, or they're not going to be able to afford to operate and then they're going to have to close and then that would actually result in job loss, or they're going to like try and lower the cost of their ingredients. But unfortunately, like we were talking about earlier with the gas prices, so and I've seen this happen before. Your business, you're buying your lettuce, you're buying your meat patties, you're buying your cheese, and it comes on a delivery truck. Doo, 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 doo. And when the gas prices skyrocket, while the Uber drivers might not be getting more, guess who does tack on like a surcharge, a fuel surcharge? The vendor, the distributor that you're getting your meat patty, your cheese, your lettuce, your tomato. They often will tack on a fuel surcharge, or they'll raise their order minimums, which might mean that each restaurant has to buy more to get an order at all. And if that happens, then maybe the ingredients that they're using aren't as fresh as they used to be. So that maybe in order to hit their delivery minimums, maybe stores are ordering once a week instead of twice a week. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. Like, I want people to be able to afford rent. I do. But I'm not sure. So in California, you absolutely could use $20 an hour in order to pay for an apartment. But are they just going to raise the cost of other things? Is it going to be more to get a dress? Is it going to be more to get shoes? Is it going to be more to get your meal at the fast food restaurant? Like, I think all of that plays a role, but I could be wrong. Okay. Ben says perhaps Uber is at its last legs. The company will collapse next year. Perhaps. Good. Good morning, Bonnie. Okay. Anthony says gig app work was a good idea, but the companies went public and became way too greedy. It's not worth it anymore. Yeah, and didn't they have like crazy like ping pong tables and things like that? Alex, hello, Alex says debt free is awesome. No car payment and credit cards have a low balance. You really laser focused on cutting down debt. I'm so excited for you. I'm so excited to hear that. Um, Definitely now's the time to do it. Try and be extra tight because here's what's right around the corner is the holidays. You guys know I don't think that you need to really spend money to make memories at the holidays, but many people are tempted to go out and do that. So really watch it now, and if you can, tuck away. If you're somebody who likes to give gifts, tuck away a little extra now if you can. Okay. Curly, that's a good idea, but if you're on disability, then a side hustle is not a bad idea. A side hustle is never a bad idea, right? I did not mean to imply that. Well, I mean it's a bad idea if it like makes your mental health struggle, right? Like if you're not able to do all those things. And yeah, like whatever makes ends meet, whatever helps you pay off your bills, absolutely. But is there something that would help our build our resumes, right? Like I probably wouldn't, first of all, I didn't drive Uber very long, and that was back in 2014. So I wouldn't list that on a resume at all. Um, but especially if somebody's on disability, is there a side hustle like an office job? And then maybe that at a dentist office or something like that. And then maybe you build a relationship with that dentist, and that's I'm sure that that comes with its own set of stresses, right? But in my mind, that's probably not as physically demanding as like working in fast food if you worked in a dentist office. And then maybe the dentist likes you. Maybe they like encourage you to go to school so that you can do the medical billing or so that you can be a dental assistant. Maybe they have a program, maybe they'll help sponsor you. Like, and that would be a good side hustle, right? Or maybe that's your main gig. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I wish that people didn't have to try and find all these side hustles. And so anything where you can like find a way to gain some skills that would help build the resume so that you can have just one job that really satisfies all your requirements to like make ends meet and make a good life, then that's I don't know because well, yeah, like I drove Uber. I wish it wasn't so hard. I wish it wasn't so hard financially. That's really what I wish. Okay. Pinky Wells, hello. Uber has too many drivers, so they have to share what's available. Everyone comes to California, drives Uber. There needs to be a limit on drivers per shift. Yeah. Okay. Pinky Wells, $20 an hour means less employees. The food will cost more and you'll wait longer to get it unless they automate it with robots and then I don't know. Because they're also saying like with these robots, right, that can like be a barista, that can flip a burger, all that kind of stuff, that robot's not going to call out sick. A robot, while it's a big upfront investment, a robot's never going to accidentally um, burn its hand in the fryer. And let's say that the robot's arm falls off and that melts off into your fries, right? That would be horribly terrible, right? And you'd have to buy a new robot and you'd have to like throw out those fries. You can't feed people like robot melted metal fries. But like, and this is a messed up thing, but it's true. It would be less expensive to buy a new robot than to pay like the medical bills or a settlement to like an injured worker. So there's that too. So the higher, and I think that they've said that, right? There used to be like people in the strawberry fields picking strawberries, and now there's like automated strawberry pickers, and then that put people out of jobs. Like the whole system's broken. It's really broken. Okay, my mom says that she's depressed. Once upon a time I had a hamburger, fries, and drink for less than 50 cents. So how do we enjoy life? We shouldn't have to work two jobs just to survive. Yeah. Pinky Wells says the price of everything will go up. Yeah, that's my concern also. Hi, Vanessa. I'm doing well. You're recovering from the flu. You're breaking a breaking sweat now and feel better the last 2 days. And I hope this means that I'm recovering. Let's switch topics and talk about one thing really quick. There is an increase, it seems like, in cases of what got us into the pandemic in the first place. And I've had like a ton of COVID tests. They're all expired. Starting tomorrow, they're opening up. You can get 4 free COVID tests again. Let me find that website. Free COVID tests. So let me just share that with you guys. And they have extended some of the expiration dates, but it appears to be about 4 to 6 months out. This is going to be at covid.gov beginning September 25th. So that's tomorrow. Mom, can you order some also, please? So, and all of you, like, please just pretend that I said that to you in the way that I said to my mom. Go ahead and get your free COVID test. Check the expiration dates on the ones that you currently have. Then there's like a website that updates like how far out the new expiration dates are, but it seems like they've extended it between 3 to 6 months. I know that I didn't check the expiration date. I didn't check the new expiration date, but I was like, I got a COVID test. And I gave one to a friend, and like there's the line that lets you know if the test is working or not, and that line didn't come up on the test. So probably time to throw out your old test and get some new ones, but get them for free. Okay, beginning September 25th, every U.S. household can again place an order to receive 4 more free COVID-19 rapid tests delivered directly to your home. But before you throw out your expired test, check to see if your COVID-19 test expiration dates have been extended. And mine had, but like mine are still expired. Okay, so this is at covid.gov tomorrow morning. You're going to go get your new free COVID test. But also, I went to CVS to pick up a prescription, and it's like right there on the prescription pad as you're going through like the I understand blah blah blah. It was like press yes if you want more information on free COVID test provided by your insurer. And I clicked yes, and the guy goes, "Oh, there's no more free COVID test." And I was like, "Okay, well, where are the paid ones?" Because it's going around again, so I wanted to like stock up. And he's like, "Oh, it's behind the counter, like at the regular register." And I was like, "Okay." So I got some Q-tips, and then I was like, "Hi, can I get a COVID test?" And then she's like, "I don't have any." But then she came back with like a whole little bag of goodies. So maybe go to your CVS and ask if they have a thing, because I got like a thing. It's not Vicks Vapor Rub, but it's just like that. It's like the CVS brand of that, and like some Prime hydration and like teeth whitening strips. Like it was a whole little care pack that also had 2 free COVID tests. So tomorrow, go to covid.gov to get your 4 unexpired COVID test, and maybe also go to CVS and see if they have some for free. Because if you test positive, right, to like know if you're safe to go back to work and stuff, you're going to need that second test for you. So you can go through 4 to 6 tests pretty quickly, unfortunately, if you have a positive result. So, Vanessa, I hope that that means you're recovering as well. And I'm sorry to hear that. COVID.gov tomorrow for your free COVID test. Okay. You can definitely get a part-time office job or an at-home job to be a side hustle, even if you're disabled. Some people, like my mom, has been disabled a long time in my life, and she used to do like telemarketing. And so you're like, okay, we'll just do telemarketing from home. But now her hearing it's been bad for like many years. So she would have trouble with that. So depending on the disability, and like my mom, I love her to death, but that poor thing, sometimes sitting too long bothers, like sometimes being in any one spot for too long or any one position for too long can be hard on her. And even me, like in this chair, like I had to get like a special pillow because like my back was hurting. And I'm not even like like I'm not disabled. So sometimes sitting too long can cause problems for people, but so can standing and all of that. So depending on the disability, it can be really tough to find a job that works for you. But like at the same time, my mom has always wanted to work, and she's always like found ways to do things for work. Okay. Bella V says, not sure if anyone experienced this, but if at times I have a hard time finding a ride from Uber. Yeah. Yeah, I've heard that a lot, that people are having trouble with that. Okay, Sylvia said, thanks for the info. By the way, I went to a food place last week where you had to order on a screen and pay with a card. No cash option. It took me 10 minutes to place an order. Yeah, it might take you longer to get your order because we're going to have to figure out how to use the robots. And I'm always going to prefer to order from a person, but I do think that businesses are going to be looking at ways to cut cost. Okay. Oh my, I actually hope I don't have COVID then. Maybe it's bad and not the flu. I hope you don't have COVID. But definitely, I don't know. If you have a test, maybe take it. I don't mean to worry you. Also, like it doesn't seem like even for people that are testing positive, people aren't going to the hospital, people aren't dying. Well, I mean, at least not in large numbers, right? So it's not like as bad and crazy as it was before, but still something to like be aware of. And you want to test, or I don't know what you want to do. I want to have tests because, like, if I have COVID, I don't want to go visit my mom. You know what I mean? Like, I just want to be careful. I don't want to, if I'm feeling sick, I want to test. I work with public. I work around food. I work around, I've got coworkers and I don't know their family situations, so I want to protect them. So that's so the cases are increasing, but the hospitalizations and deaths, it's my understanding, are not. But I'm still going to want to test, and there's certain circumstances where you're supposed to test, like businesses are still supposed to notify close contacts if someone tells you that they've tested positive in the workplace. So I just want to get my test again. I want to have them so that if that happens, I can test and know that I'm safe. And as much as like if calling out sick or something like that might hurt the business, like, I would feel so bad if I took out, like, half my team, you know? So, if I'm not feeling well, I will, which I am, I'm feeling fine. But if I wasn't, I wanna have those tests on hand because it is starting to go around again. So, tomorrow morning, I'm gonna go to covid.gov and get my free test. Okay. You've seen COVID-19 tests we got for free being sold at some 7-Eleven. Yeah, because I think they stopped giving them out for free, but tomorrow morning, Katie, hi. Not working until tonight, 2020. You got 10 tests free at the drugstore. You gave some to my grown kids. Yeah, and I was giving them to my mom and like my friend that rents the garage. And like I think I brought some to work, but like they are expired. Uh-oh. Then Alex is saying COVID has similar symptoms to the flu. Vanessa, I hope you don't have COVID as it can be that too and you aren't aware of it. Get better. Yes. Wishing you a speedy recovery. Okay. Alex also says, when I think of that crazy time in 2020 to 2021, EDD was the biggest headache to deal with. It sure was. Okay. Let's go back to this article. Let's see so this is from Restaurant Business is the name of the website, Restaurant Business Online. So obviously this is going to put it from the perspective of the restaurants. Okay, so the impact of fast food wage compromise in California won't be limited to fast food. Limited service restaurants may have avoided the existential threat, but a $20 per hour minimum is expected to have a profound impact on wage rates across all segments and up the salary ladder. That's another thing because let's say that you're a manager and you've been making $20 an hour already and that the minimum wage has been $15.50. Like that manager is still going to want to make $4.50 more than an entry level employee. So like everything, it's gonna have an impact, right? It's not just, I don't know. Okay, let's just keep reading the article. In California, the battle over fast food chain regulations appears to have reached detente. I don't know that word. But the impact of the compromise is expected to ripple across the industry to all segments, and some say all industries. In a complex compromise announced last week, labor organizers and key restaurant industry representatives reached an agreement on legislation that is expected to be signed by the governor in coming weeks. So that's the thing. So it hasn't passed. Let's see how recent this is. So this is September 18th. So that's super recent, just a few days ago. So the labor organizers and the key restaurant industry representatives, they've agreed, but it still needs to be signed by the governor. So that's where we're at with that. Okay. So under the agreement, the FAST Act will be repealed and the effort to establish a joint employer relationship between franchisors and franchisees is dead. Assembly Bill 1228 was rewritten to create a modified fast food wage council that will establish minimum standards on working conditions for the industry. And the state's minimum wage will increase to $20 an hour starting in April 2024, which will be a 25% increase from the $16 an hour per hour wage that is scheduled to begin in January. And some counties and areas already have a higher minimum wage. Okay. AB 1228 is described as a fast food law, but the bill specifically targets any limited service chain with more than 60 units nationwide. So it applies to fast casual operators like Chipotle and Sweetgreen, as much as quick service concepts like McDonald's or Burger King. Though bakeries that sell bread as a standalone item, like Panera Bread, for example, are still exempt, as would have been the case under the FAST Act. That's interesting. Fundamentally, however, increasing the minimum wage for limited service workers forces other segments to follow suit. Yeah, because if I can make $20 an hour working at Subway, why would I work at Panera Bread making 16? So yeah, that forces Panera Bread in California, in my opinion, to also pay $20, okay, an hour. And smaller businesses too. Okay. Michael Lotito, a shareholder with the law firm Littler Mendelson, who runs the Workplace Policy Institute based in San Francisco, estimated there are roughly 17.6 million people working in California, and about 7.6 million make less than $20 an hour. That is almost half of the working people. That's crazy. Okay. When you have that as a starting rate in an industry like QSR that has close to 100% turnover and 500,000 people in that industry, there are always openings. That means anyone who's making less than $20 per hour will very well want those jobs. So I think restaurants that are below the $20 per hour are going to find they have a huge problem on their hands in keeping and attracting people. I agree with that. In other words, if an hourly worker at McDonald's is earning $20 an hour as base, then the full service restaurant down the road will be forced to pay that and more to win that worker, and so will the retailer, the auto shop repair, and the manufacturing plant. Okay, I will say the one part where I maybe disagree with that statement is with restaurants, full service restaurants, those employees are also tipped. And I think I've mentioned this before. I now know service employees who are making between 35 and $40 an hour routinely. Like 35 is the low end for minimum wage plus the tips. So I had no idea that the wage could be between 35 and $40 an hour. But it's hard work being a server. You're on your feet, you're carrying heavy trays, you're like your knees are gonna hurt, your back's gonna hurt. Like it's hard work being a server. Um, so I'm not saying they don't deserve it. I'm just saying that I didn't realize that with tips, the hourly rate could reach that amount of money. So it is possible that like a full service sit down restaurant could potentially still attract employees with a $16 an hour minimum wage instead of a $20 an hour minimum wage. But I do think in other jobs, I do think that could impact it. And under the compromise legislation, the Fast Food Wage Council will have authority to increase the minimum wage each year by up to 3.5% through the year 2029. And, adds Lotito, the shift in the minimum wage will also radiate up the salary ladder in the restaurant industry. I also agree with that. In the California, not in the California, in California, the salary rate at which workers can be deemed exempt from benefits like overtime, for example, is based on the state minimum wage. So to be considered exempt, workers must earn at least a minimum salary of no less than 2 times the minimum wage for a full-time employment in California, which is currently about $64,480 per year based on the current state minimum wage of $15.50. The amended AB 1228, however, includes language indicating the benchmark salary for workers in the limited service industry would be based specifically on the new fast food minimum wage. Oh, this is very interesting to me. So with a $20 minimum wage, it appears that the minimum salary for exempt workers will become $83,200 for those working in the quick service or fast casual world. Okay, so this means, let's say I am a salaried manager at a grocery store. Okay. Ooh. Oh, this is very interesting to me. $64,480 is the current minimum salary in the state of California. But let's do it because all this goes into effect in 2024. So hang on one second. Okay, so it's going to be $32 an hour times 40 times 52 weeks. So starting in 2024, if you are salaried in the state of California, your minimum salary needs to be $66,560. But they're saying that if you are a salaried employee of like a McDonald's or something like that, that would be, I'm just going to do the math myself, 20 times 50. No, not 50. 20 times 20 times 40. $20 an hour times 40. Oh my God, no. Come on, get it together, Shelly. I got excited by this. 20 times 2, that'd be $40 an hour. $40 an hour times 40 hours a week times 52 weeks. So if you manage, okay, this is like grocery store, $83,200, Chipotle, McDonald's, Wendy's, Subway. What is that a difference of? Let me just, if you guys couldn't tell, right? No shade to my company. $83,200 is a considerable amount more than I'm making where I'm working right now. Considerable amount. That is not to say I'm unhappy, but that is to say, and also here's the other thing though about fast food places and being a manager. A lot of these places are open 24 hours, and I am not sure that I'm cut out for like a 10 p.m. to like 6 a.m. shift. I'm not sure that I've got that in me at 46 years old, but for $83,000, what is this a difference of? 83,200 minus 66,560. That would be a difference of $16,640. That's a lot more money, guys. That is a lot more money. Like maybe I could that's more than $1,000 extra a month. That's a lot of money extra if you're in a salaried managerial position at one of these places. But let's keep reading this. And again, it hasn't passed yet. Okay. That's kind of insane. Okay. So with the $20 minimum wage, it appears that or they'll just take people off salary. They'll be like, well, you're not on salary anymore. And they won't guarantee hours. And if it starts to slow down, they'll cut your hours and that kind of thing. Okay. These kinds of dramatic changes that are unprecedented will absolutely put in play the law of unintended consequences. And that law of unintended consequences will create a ripple effect throughout the labor market in California. This could be quite profound. Jock Condi, president and chief executive of the California Restaurant Association, agreed that wage pressure is likely to be felt across the restaurant sector, all sectors, as a result of the compromise. But alternative presented by the Fast Food Act, had it been allowed to come to fruition, would have been far worse, he said. In the full service sector, where total compensation far exceeds 24 hours, such pressure is less clear as these continue to be attractive jobs for service employees. So this is meaning tipped. If you're full service, it means you're potentially going to be tipped as well. It is difficult to know how quickly these pressures will cascade throughout the industry as the continuing tight labor market and differing regional minimum wages cloud the crystal ball. Still, restaurateurs like Andrew Gruel, founder of the American Gravy Concepts in Southern California. Sorry, I don't know why I think that's funny. There's a founder of American Gravy Concepts. Believe the compromise on AB 1228 will have more of an impact on larger chains. Gruel, who also founded and sold the Slap Fish seafood chain, opened a full-service concept called Calico Fish House in Huntington Beach earlier this year, where tipped workers already make between $16 and $24 an hour, and kitchen workers make way over $20 per hour to start, he said. I do, however, budget my business to run 35 to 40% labor, which is 10% higher than when I ran fast casual. The only way I can ensure profitability is by hitting above average sales. What really scares Gruhl about the compromise on AB 1228 is the creation of the 9-member fast food wage council, he said. I think this will eventually distill all the way down to single unit restaurants, said Gruhl. Having the state make decisions related to a restaurant's largest expense will break many restaurants. And he added, I will never open another restaurant in California. And I feel like that's a valid concern. Okay. Let's see. Hi, Scotty. Okay. All right. Pinky says, buy a small grill and you can make better burgers at home. Maybe you can. I'm not a great cook. Anyone think our Governor Newsom will sign that bill, seeing he's eyeing the office of President of the United States? That would not sit well with voters in other states, I'll tell you that much. Okay. Hi, Scotty. Their current employees won't leave, but it will be hard for full-service restaurants to attract new employees paying them less than $20 an hour. Bella, hi. I hope Governor Newsom runs for president of the United States. I felt he really stepped up when COVID hit, especially for the elderly. Back then, he announced a program to feed the elderly, not the Meals on Wheels program. Yes. When announcing the program, he said it was a win-win with such confidence. Win for the restaurants and win for the elderly. I signed my mom up and it was a great program. My mom was getting those meals. I'm not sure if it's the exact same program, but she was like, Shelly, I'm getting this stuff from the government. I'm getting meals weekly. And she's like, I don't have anywhere to put it, even if I put them in the freezer. Okay. Putting aside the fact that he went to a restaurant when suggesting not to at all, when he attended a family dinner, it happens. Okay. Pinky says, Newsom will never be president of the United States. Why not? Why? Uh-oh. Pinky, yeah, I don't think the comments are being blocked. Okay. I will say that in most of the conservative states, they already talk about how they don't like Newsom. That's not saying it's impossible for him to win, but even like to get a traditionally conservative state to vote for a Democrat, usually that Democrat has to be, I don't like less democratic. So I do think it would be hard for him to win over the more conservative states. That's my personal opinion. I'm not saying whether he would do a good job or not. I just think he would really honestly, anybody from California, I feel like is a hard sell. I feel like you guys have heard me say this before. A lot of people, and maybe this is stereotyping, maybe it's not a lot of people, but I have personally, so I'll just say I've personally seen a lot of comments from people that I know, acquaintances, Facebook groups I'm in, things like that, where they really view California as just extremely liberal, and like I think they wish that we would just go off and do our own thing. And they even say like, oh, the reason why like the homeless population is so bad in California is because the Democrats just, give them everything. And while there are like a lot of programs available to help people in need, I honestly think it's just weather based. I was thinking about this as I was driving home the other day because every day on my way to work and on my way home, I see people on the side of the freeway now, like going like on the freeway that are in the process of like going to like the dirt inclines on the side of the freeway, which I think is really sad, right? And I don't know how to fix that. I wish I did. But I think that the reason why we see so much of that is because of our nice weather. Half of the well, again, I don't know the statistics, so let me not state that, but I have seen headlines that I have not investigated that say things to the effect of, like a lot of the people don't even want the services. So it's not that, oh, these Democrats are giving away all these freebies, and so that's why California has such a like really bad homeless problem. It's just like, hey, our weather it gets colder in the winter, but it's not going to get freezing. So people literally, they're able to survive here in the state of California in the winter if you're homeless. Um, oh, my mom says that, well, she typed Newton, but she means Newsom, this week, that he will not run for president. Okay. So yeah, we didn't talk about what was the other topic I said we were going to talk about? Oh, rental assistance. No, we got to talk about that really quick in case anyone needs it. This is just for Los Angeles rental assistance 2023. Ba, 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 ba. 5 days ago. Okay. And we're going to click this one. Please don't have pop-ups. Okay. Los Angeles launches applications for emergency rental assistance. City helps provide unpaid back rent to low-income renters at risk of homelessness. Is Karen Bass. Okay, the City of Los Angeles has launched its Emergency Renters Assistance Program on Tuesday, September 19th, with the aim of providing financial assistance towards back rent to low-income renters at the risk of homelessness due to COVID-19 or other financial hardships. The program, funded by Measure ULA funds, also known as the Mansion Tax, offers up to 6 months of assistance. Renters can apply online at any time during the application period at housing.lacity.org or by phone at 888-379-3151. I'm going to repeat both of those. So you can apply for rental assistance at housing.lacity.org. So this is the City of Los Angeles, not the county. So that's going to apply to less people, but it could still help some people watching this channel. So this is the City of Los Angeles, not the county. And the website to apply would be housing.lacity.org or by phone at 888-379-3150. Oh, close Discover ad. I don't want you. Okay. Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. The application period opened at 8 a.m. Tuesday and ends October 2nd at 6 p.m. So this is a very small window of time to apply. According to the LA Housing Department, Angelenos must meet the following requirements to be eligible. Be a resident of the city, regardless of immigration status. To verify if you live in the city, go to neighborhoodla.org. One or more individuals within the households have experienced a loss of employment, reduction in household income, incurred significant cost, or experienced other financial hardship between March 2020 to the present. I mean, that's almost all of us. Significant cost or other financial hardship from March of 2020, aka the pandemic. Okay. And then have unpaid rent due to their current landlord. Have unpaid rent that is due to their current landlord for any months between April of 2020 to the present, and the current household income is at or below 80% of the area median income. The program has a total funding of $18.4 million available. I want to assure everyone this is not first come, first serve portal. Ann Sewell, general manager of the LA Housing Department, said Tuesday, you can apply today, tomorrow, or anytime. This is the 4th time the city has offered financial assistance for paying back rent since the beginning of the pandemic. The previous programs served hundreds of thousands of people. According to U.S. Census data, it's estimated that about 80,000 households across the city were behind on rent. Sewell said officials don't know the incomes or how much people are behind on rent, and that it's a learning experience for the department. We know that $18.4 million is not going to be enough to cover the whole need, but it's certainly a start. Anna Ortega, the assistant general manager of the housing department, said the city has a high proportion of renters, with about 60% being low-income renters and about 50% severely rent burdened, and have continued to experience challenges even now because of the pandemic and other economic impact. Ortega encouraged renters in need to visit the housing department's site where a wealth of information can be found. Okay, and before I'm not going to read the rest of that because I want to pop onto this website and see what that looks like. Housing.lacity.org. Housing. Oops. Oh my goodness. .lacity.org. Okay. Let me make sure that I am sharing this. Oops. That's the same program, and you work in downtown LA, and it's no longer the same. So it's the same program. It looks like they've just opened it up again. Okay. That I can tell. Okay, so ULA Emergency Renters Assistance Program for the city of Los Angeles, Los Angeles, United to House Los Angeles Emergency Renters Assistance Program, the ULAERAP. The applications are open now through October 2nd. This is more of the program information. And the income limit category, this is pretty high. So for one person, the low income 80% of the median would be $70,650. That should be a lot of people. Okay. The program will cover up to 6 months of rental arrears, back rent. To be eligible, a household must be obligated to pay rent on a residential dwelling and meet the following requirements: be a resident of the city of Los Angeles, regardless of immigration status. To verify if you live in the city of Los Angeles, go to neighborhoodinfo.lacity.gov. One or more individuals within the household have experienced a loss of employment, reduction in household income, incurred significant cost, or experienced other financial hardship between March of 2020 and now, have unpaid rent due to their current landlord for any months between April 1st, 2020 through now, and the current household income is at or below 80% of the area median income. Participants of Section 8 housing, choice voucher, Veterans Affairs supportive housing, or living in a project-based Section 8 or public housing are not eligible to apply for the program. Prioritization. Prioritization will be given to applicants from households with income at or below 30% of the area median income and who have unpaid rent beginning on April 1st, 2020 through September 30th of 2021. Applicants that do not meet the eligibility priority may be processed at a later time. Once the above priority is met, the following applications will be selected that meet the following criteria: households with minor children and or seniors age 65 or above, or people with disabilities, households that are extremely rent burdened, paying more than 50% of total household income for rent each month, households that are at high risk of becoming homeless, including but not limited to households with past due rent or an eviction notice, unsafe or unhealthy living conditions, or any other evidence of such risk. I'm going to go ahead and mention this again as well. If you need this, and because I had viewers tell me in the past that when they applied, they were told, they were asked, are you at risk of experiencing homelessness? And if someone said no, that they were like denied. And again, I think it's like the EDD telephone operators. I think some people don't quite know, but I don't want anybody to lie, but this is what I would say. If this is true for you, I would say, if I don't receive rental assistance, then yes, I will be at risk of experiencing homelessness because I would not be able to afford to pay my rent or to pay the back rent. Okay. Households for whom up to 6 months rent in its entirety will satisfy their entire debt for the unit they currently inhabit, who have entered into an agreement to repay the remaining balance affordably. And these are the 2023 HUD low income limits for Los Angeles. So very low income, 50% of the median for one person would be 40,150, and extremely low income, 30% of the median would be 26,500. Apply online, apply by phone, or apply in person. Information, if you do, okay, apply in person, the information to have available before applying in person. In person appointments have the option to provide documents. If you do not provide documents, you will be notified at a later time to provide documents. The below documents will be required to determine your eligibility. Proof of identification, such as government issued identification card with photo, proof of residential tenancy, such as a rental agreement, lease, a notice issued by your current landlord, utility bill, etc. Proof of current and past due rental amounts, such as a rent receipt, rental ledger, etc. Proof of household income, such as a tax return, 1099, or employer contact information. Proof of financial hardship, such as a loss of employment, reduction in household income, incurred significant cost, or other financial hardship between March of 2020 and now. If you do not provide documents during the time of filing your application in person, please be prepared to have the following information: know your unpaid rent amount and months owed. If you receive prior rental assistance, please provide the program name and the months paid. Know your monthly household income for all household members, and have your landlord's contact information, such as their phone number, email, address, etc. Okay. All right, guys. So I definitely wanted to talk about that. I hope that's helpful. If you know anybody who lives in the city of Los Angeles who still is struggling to get caught up on their rent, please let them know that this program has opened up again. But October 2nd, that window that they have opened the applications, although they said it's not first come, first serve, that's a really small window. What is that? Like maybe a week from now? Let's see. Da, 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 da. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's 9 days from today. Okay, you guys. Thank you so much for watching today's live stream with Shelly's Millions. I hope to see you next time. Have a great rest of your day, and thanks so much for watching.